Are we good? I see myself in the screen. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. Morning everyone, my name is Audrey. I am Stitchywitch42 here on flosstube and over on Instagram. This is my channel about cross-stitch life, the universe, and everything. I got a lot of stuff today. Lots to talk about. Cabin fever being part of it. Anyway, I'm going to start with a life update as I have been. 2 weeks ago, Tuesday, was session number 6 of chemo. Talked with the provider before they actually started anything, and there were some things that he wanted to address. One of them being that because of having pancreatic cancer and having part of my pancreas removed, I am now diabetic. And on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th days after chemo, they give me steroids and they cause my blood sugars to spike. So he wanted to talk about that. They give me some steroids on the day of chemo. They reduced that from 8 units to 6. I have no idea how much a unit is, but 8 units to 6. And then he said on day 2 he wanted me to take 1 tablet, and on days 3 and 4 take a half tablet each. So I did that. The steroids help me to feel better on those first couple of days, because it's generally the next 3 to 4 days after I stop the steroids that I really feel crappy, figuratively and literally. So reducing the steroids brought that feeling on maybe the afternoon of the 4th day, a little bit early. But overall, this cycle hasn't been bad. So that was one of the changes that was made this time. The other thing that we talked about was, I told you last time I was dizzy for about 4 days. I'd stand up and, yeah, it wasn't good. And I'd walk in the kitchen and it wasn't good. So we're talking about that and he goes, "What's happening there? How do you feel?" And I said, "Well, I stand up from my chair and I have to stop and give myself a moment to not be dizzy. Or I'm walking in the kitchen and all of a sudden it hits and I'm grabbing onto the counter and the chairs, and sometimes Mark is helping me back to this chair." And he goes, "Is it room spinning dizzy?" And I said, "No, it's tunnel vision." And he goes, "That's not good. That's you on the verge of passing out." Oh. Okay. So he said that he wanted me to get a stethoscope so that I could take my blood pressure if I experience that again. And I didn't go out and buy a stethoscope and blood pressure cuff because, one, Mark would have to do it, and his hearing from working 20 years as a truck driver sucks. He wouldn't be able to hear my blood pressure. And it's been 40-some years since I've done it, because I used to be a CNA many years ago. And I don't know if I could do it myself. I could probably, I went online and I looked at some wrist digital cuffs, but I need to look more into them or find out more about them, because I need something that's pretty much going to do it on its own without any intervention from me or Mark. So watch out for the dizzy spells with the tunnel vision, because that means you're on the verge of passing out. Don't do that. Don't do that. So in the middle of this cycle, on June, by today it's the 20, by today. Today is the 21st of July 2025. On the 12th at Acorns and Threads there was a Lola Crow trunk show. And Sarah had asked me to come up because she wanted me to bring my haunted library. This one. I felt horrible that day, and I couldn't go. And I was devastated. I had been wanting to go to that since Sarah told me about it. And I'm tired of this. I'm really, really tired of this. So I didn't get to go up there on the 12th. And I called and I placed an order with them, which was nice, because I needed some happy mail, and I got it, and I'll be sharing that in a little bit. On the 16th, which was a Wednesday, I went in for a regular visit with my primary care doctor. The nurse took my blood pressure and she goes, 80 over 50. And I said, what? And she said, 80 over 50. My blood pressure is normally in the 120s over 70s. Yes, I have high blood pressure. I was taking 100 milligrams of losartan every day. My doctor came in and he said, we're going to cut that in half. So you're going to do 50 milligrams a day. Okay. I can do that. So, I mean, it was normal when I went in for the session, so why was it so low that I don't know. It's like one day you're dealing with this, the next day you're dealing with that. Anyway, my PC was talking to me about my blood sugars, and I take 2 different types of insulin. I take one on days 2, 3, and 4 because of the steroids. They're short-term insulin. I don't know. I don't know. I take one type on days 2, 3, and 4. I take it before breakfast, before lunch, before dinner. And then in the evening I take my regular insulin, which is a long-term insulin. And he goes, your A1C is high, and he goes, I want you to start increasing your long-term insulin 1 unit every evening until you're between 70 and 120 on your blood sugar counts in the morning. Well, a couple of days later, my endocrinologist called. I had sent her a message telling her how my blood sugars had spiked, and we talked about it and everything, and I told her what my family doctor wanted me to do, and she goes, no. No. She goes, if you keep doing that, you run the risk of your blood sugars plummeting. So she goes, where are you at right now? And I said at 11 units. And she goes, stay at 11 units. Your range is 70 through 130. The last couple of mornings it's been 135 and 136. So between the two of them, when it comes to the diabetes, I'm going to listen to her, not him. He'll get over it. Yes, I made the appointment. I called while I was editing my video last time, gave them the information, and then I waited for a return call. And 4 days later, I called them back and they said, oh yeah, your appointment's on the 25th. Thanks for letting me know. So I go in tomorrow for an infusion. I go in Thursday to have the pump removed. I think I've told you this before. There's 3 infusions. There's 2 that I do up at OHSU. There's the one that I come home and I have to wear it for like 46 hours. And they take that out on Thursday, and then Friday I will go in and they will check Alien Baby, who is putting out less. So, Fingers and toes crossed. Fingers and toes crossed. We're only 11 minutes into the video. Are you ready for some cross stitch? Well, technically I've already shown cross stitch. Yeah, technically I've already shown cross stitch. So, quite honestly, there was about 5 days that I didn't feel like stitching at all because I was feeling really crappy, figuratively and literally. And then one day I decided that I wanted to stitch. And I touched 4 things, which kind of amazed me because it was like, oh, I could stitch on this for a little bit. No, I want to stitch on this one. But the one I started with is the Salem Sisters Stitchery. And I'm working up here on the spool of thread. I wanted to say thread of spool, and that wasn't right. And spool of thread. Those spool of thread. Yeah. So that's all I did was the orange in there. And that's when I switched. I'm going to try to keep things nice here so I don't have too much to clean up. Because I didn't get to go to the Lola Crow open house, trunk show, stitch day, I decided that I wanted to stitch on something Lola Crow. And I had bought this pattern a while back. This is the Creepy Christmas Village Ornament Set. But I don't want to stitch these as ornaments. You may remember back at the end of 2023, I did the 5 Halloween style ornaments, and then I sent them to Helen D, who graciously finished them for me. And I have a little Halloween tree that they go on, but I don't put cross stitch on my Christmas tree. My Christmas tree is all glass ornaments. And I was thinking, okay, if I don't want to do ornaments on this, what do I want to do? And I thought, you know, I got this idea from Niecie Lynn. She did it with the Waxing Moon Patriotic Houses, I think it was, where she stitched the 3 of them together as a drum, and I thought, ooh, I could do that. So, let me see. 1, 2, 3. I want to do the headless horse carriage. I want to do the gazebo, and I want to do the carolers in that order. What I got started on some blue fabric, and I'm not sure what blue fabric it is, it's just a scrap, was the headless horse carriage. I'm actually really close to finishing this. All I have to do is finish the blue underneath the snow here and some back stitch. I also made a mistake. If you look where the lamp post is and the horse, there's a missing spot. It's because I started the lamp too high, and I almost decided to pick that out, and I thought, seriously? You're missing 1 stitch, and it's a lamp post. Make the lamp post 1 stitch taller. So, I have to figure out my spacing. Quite honestly, I don't know how wide this fabric is and if all 3 will fit on here. I'm just playing. But I got this one started. That's a new start. These are all the colors for the different Lola Crow patterns in there, so I am looking forward to doing that. Now, yes, I did stitch on my poison, medicine and poison. Where's the cover page? This is Medicine and Poison by the Witchy Stitcher. When this came out, I knew that this was going to be my journey piece. This was going to be the piece that I stitched while doing chemo. I'm stitching it on perforated paper because I want to put it into a journal. My plan is that inside the journal I will have a page that is dedicated to recording all of this stuff. The initial surgery, the alien baby, the everything. And I haven't started working on that yet. I've written notes down on a piece of paper about things that I want to add to it. I watch paper crafting videos and I get ideas there and I write them down. But I haven't gotten that started yet. But I am continuing to stitch on Medicine and Poison. Now, there's supposed to be another skeleton like that over here. I chose not to do that because I want this to be a flip out, and I'm actually going to trim this like a mill hill kit when I get it all stitched. But down here, there's a gap in the brown here, which is where the hand of the skeleton comes down. And I thought about putting the hand of the skeleton there, and then I thought, no, that wouldn't really look right. So I went in and I charted my own numbers for the year, and then I put my initials up above it. And then I think I've got the counting right for where I started the stitches down below this side. But I don't want to stitch down and realize that it's not going to work. So I decided to come back over here and work. That was a call for Mark. He's grocery shopping. Did you do the digital coupons? Yes, I did. And yes, the ringtone on my cell phone is the Addams Family theme. It's me, people. So I decided to come back over to this side and stitch across the bottom. I've got dose done. I'm starting to work down here. I think I have 2 more rows of stitching below this, but I figure if I go across the bottom and come up, that will be my best bet in making sure that this is where it's supposed to be. It's a game plan. Do I know what I'm doing? All right, the one that got me started on stitching all the different things that day was my Teresa Kogut pattern. This is Stitcher's Strawberries. I had been watching Lori, textilist, and she stitched it, and she showed it when she finished it, and I was just like, I have to stitch that. It's in the Hello Spring booklet. Ooh, come on, through the back. And that's where I'm at. I came in and I got these 2 leaves done, started working on this one up here, started this strawberry here, and some of the leaves over there, just using up the green that I had, and that's where I'm at with that. And this is on 32 count Tombstone by Atomic Ranch. Like I said, I don't know what the blue is because it was a scrap. So those were the 4 pieces that I stitched on the day that I decided that I wanted to stitch again. I had to do something. And I touched all those things, and then I got up the next morning and I thought, you know, I have a project in my basket over here that I haven't worked on for a while, and I really need to get it out and get going with it. This is in one of my Kindred Stitcher bags because it's big enough to hold the Q-snap. I I go back and forth between using bags and not using bags. I've got some of the Amazon bags, I've got my floss buddies and things like that, and sometimes it's just on a ring because I'm lazy. But this piece is the one from Sprouting Lupine. It is Graveyard Guardian. I started it at the beginning of the year. And I think this area between my fingers here on the top was all I had done. I decided that I wanted to work over to the top left-hand corner, which means that I would be working in the tree. And I stitched a bunch of the leaves and then realized that 3 or 4 of them were in the wrong spot. So I pulled those out and decided to go through and do the branches instead. And as soon as I did the branches, I redid those 3 leaves, and one of them still wasn't looking like it was in the right spot. And it was because the leaf above it I had stitched the wrong way. It's been fixed. But that's where I'm at on Graveyard Guardians. I've got most of the leaves done. These leaves. There's lots more. I got all of the branches done for this part of it. I got the lamp done. I've got the berries on here. I'm working on the berries on this side. And when I get that done, I'm going to go back over and finish this side so that I can then work down. So I'm really happy with the progress that I made on this because I was ignoring it. One of the things on this pattern, they use DMC colors 01 and 03, which are very, very almost white and slightly darker. On the tombstones, even when I'm looking at it up close and personal, it's really hard to tell a difference between those 2 colors. But at the same time, it almost gives it a marble look. So I'm going to leave it the way it is. We're just going to leave it the way it is. So like I said, I had called. Lola Crow was on Saturday. I must have called. They're closed Sunday, Monday. I must have called on Tuesday. I don't know what it is. But I said, hey, I called a while back and I asked you to put some things in my bag. And I would just like you to send them to me if you would. And of course, one of the things that I had to get was the 2025 Halloween Just Cross Stitch. So I was looking through this, and there is a lot of stuff in here that I want to stitch. Seriously, there's a lot of stuff in here I want to stitch. But I decided to play a game on Instagram, and I posted a picture of just the magazine cover. And I said, I squealed. I don't squeal. But I squealed because of this one pattern on here, and I said, can you guess which one it is? And as everyone answered, I sent them a message to tell them either yes, they got it right, or nope, they not close. But there are some gorgeous, gorgeous patterns in here. The witch up here, I want to stitch her. She's not the one. Michele Moose Mom is stitching her right now. She's gorgeous. This witch too, I really like that. The pumpkin and the frog, all good stuff. Are they what I stitched? No. The reason I squealed, and this is my brain not on drugs, is because I saw the face on this one and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to stitch this. because he wants to give a free hug to Alien Baby. Yeah. That's my brain. So I looked at the pattern and it's stitched in 2 colors, 310 and 414. I don't just want to do black. I wanted to have some variegation in it. So I went upstairs and I looked through my fancy flosses and I found that I had 2 partial skeins of, is it Classic Colorworks? I don't know what it is. Gentle Arts. Black Crow. There is variegation in it. It is very... You don't see it just looking at it, but when I have the light on it, I mean up close I can see it. When I have the light on it, I can see it. And you know me that when I come to stitching variegated floss, I don't like stripes. You can use variegated floss on houses and have stripes and it looks fantastic. But there's some things that it just, no. And I didn't want to have a striped reaper. So I'm doing like I did, if you're a longtime follower, you will remember when I did Don't Feed the Trolls. If you're new, thank you for coming and visiting with me. I hope you stay and listen to me and like and subscribe and do all those things. But I don't like stripes. I don't like the stripy look. It just, no. And my Reaper, no. So I'm doing like I did on the Trolls. I outlined it and then I'm going back in and I'm filling it in and doing, I am doing random stitches to make that variegation not stripy. So I got this much of it done. This is his scythe. This is his face. Does that not look like an alien's face to you? It does to me. My Grim Reaper is here to take Alien Baby. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'm going around and stitching as much as I can and hoping that that, can you see that, is enough to finish it. If not, I'll call Acorns and Threads and they'll send me some more. So I got some happy mail. I have more to show you from my purchases from Acorns and Threads, but this is a segue from the magazine. I got some happy mail from my sister. She had sent me a text and told me that she had done cording for the first time. And she was putting it on a piece, and I said, well, show me. And she goes, I can't, it's for you. And I said, but you could if you wanted to. So she sent me a picture of the cording. But she sent me a picture of the cording, and I'm proud of her because cording intimidates me. I've watched Vanna's tutorial, I've watched Helen's tutorial. One of these days I might, maybe, possibly try it. Who knows? But she sent me the picture of the cording and she goes, I put it in the mail, you should have it by Friday. Well, it actually showed up the next day. It's one of the patterns out of the book. It's Blessed Bee, and I'll even tell you what page it's on because they got the index thingy in the back. Where's it at? Okay. It's on page 80. And this is what she sent me. This is so adorable. I love that she has the cording on there. She put some glass beads on it. On the back, she fussy cut it so there's a witch right in the center. I love this. She also found a purple bulb pin to go on this and a 2025 charm. So I love this. And yeah, it's got all the things. It's got all of the things. So there is that. All right, the rest of my Acorns and Threads purchases. So I had called and I said I needed the magazine. I said I ordered the Hands-On Design Thread White and Blue. Helen had shown this on her video and I really liked the little cube, and I haven't tried doing one the way this is stitched, so I wanted to do that. But then look behind it. That's a cover for a floss book on perforated paper. Where can I find perforated paper? Oh, maybe right there in the cardboard packaging that has another piece that's 18 by 22 of 18 count perforated paper. So now I have to do both of them because patriotic, and I know Lisa Smith is doing a 25 for 200 for 250, and then there's a 13 for 25. 13 for I know there's a couple of different hashtags going around for all the patriotic stuff for next year because we'll be celebrating 250 years of America. So I don't know if I'm going to stitch 13. I don't know if I'm going to stitch 25. It's supposed to go from July 4th through July 4th. That's the extent of my knowledge because I pay so much attention. But there's two of them. And then Mill Hill came out with a new series of Santas. And there was one that I absolutely had to have. I'm not a big Christmas stitcher unless it's Grinches or Scrooge and Marley, or it's me. I'm not a big Santa stitcher. But I saw this one and I have to stitch it. There's no I want to stitch it, it's a have to stitch it. This is the first responder Santas. This is the EMT Santa because my granddaughter is in school right now to become an EMT, and when she's done, she's going to cross-train as a firefighter, and I am making this for her. They have two dogs. They have Mastiffs. They don't have, I think that's supposed to be a golden retriever. They have two Mastiffs, which are the most lovable, dumbest dogs ever. One of them is scared of his own shadow. The other one gets so excited when he sees people he pees. I love them both. Bones and Grim. They're my grandpuppies. But then in the package from Acorns and Threads, there was a pattern that I did not order. So I called because I didn't order it. And Sarah answered the phone and she goes, "Would you like to speak to the person who put that in your package?" And I said, "Yeah, I would." So she put Jeannine on the phone, the owner of Acorns and Threads. Jeannine goes down to the attic every year and helps with the Bristol weekend. And she brought back patterns for Anna, Cheryl, and myself of Jean Lee's chocolate sampler. I was reading on the back of this, Jean's love of chocolate and passion for samplers are evident in this original cross-stitch design. She plucked some of her favorite sayings from Dove chocolate wrappers and charted them in fancy fonts from antique samplers. So we have chocolate. Who needs a reason? Everything happens with chocolate. I have only one vice, and it's chocolate. Enjoy good chocolate with friends. Eating chocolate is like giving yourself a hug. Promises are better with chocolates. If I could, I'd bathe in chocolate. I get to eat sugar-free chocolate. I ordered some from Amazon and the bag arrived yesterday, and it's got that white mottling on it. It's old chocolate, which, you know, I'm settling for sugar-free chocolate. Give me good sugar-free chocolate, not old. Jeannine may have found a way to get me to stitch a sampler. Am I going to do it on 56 count? No. Am I going to do it on 28? Probably not. I might settle for 36. But I think I might break down. Maybe. Possibly. Stitch a sampler. Who am I? What's happening to me? I'm spending too much time by myself in this house, and cabin fever set in this time. My life has been sitting here feeling crappy, figuratively and literally. And going to OHSU, and I'm just, it's like when the people that I love post a video, I'm all over it. Let me watch you now. And then I search and I search and I search for something else to watch, and I have this series that showed up on in my flosstube algorithms. Two Brits eat this, that, or the other thing. Two guys that try all sorts of different food and ooh and ah over it, and I don't know why, but I find them fascinating. But I'm kind of done with them. And then I thought, no, I need to find something else to watch, because that is not my granddaughter driving by, but it was a fire truck. I don't know if you heard that or not. Anyway, I have been trying to find things to watch because I am bored out of my mind here. I have no energy. I go to bed about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I get up about 7:30, and I come downstairs and I have something to eat, and I sit in my chair and I wake up 3 hours later. And I'm like, seriously, I am tired of this. Last week, I didn't have the energy to do the laundry. I mean, all I had to do is put the stuff in the wash and turn it on. Wasn't like I was scrubbing it myself, but Mark did it. I can't change the bed by myself. I have no energy. And I'm stuck in my house, and cabin fever set in. And yesterday I'm sitting here and I was stitching, and I go, Mark? And he goes, yeah? I said, is the Jeep drivable? And he goes, oh yeah. And I said, good, we're going somewhere. And he goes, where are we going? And I said, I don't know. You're just taking me for a drive somewhere because I got to get out of this house. And I need to go somewhere that is not the hospital. So he took me for a ride in the Jeep. And we went to Butteville. It is a small town by Charbonneau, Oregon. And the reason he wanted to take me there is this old grocery store that has become a deli ice cream parlor. So we went and we had lunch and we sat outside and there was no internet, so we had to talk to each other. And then we drove back and he made sure to stay off the freeway and take back roads because there's more things to see. And the whole thing was just getting me out of the house, and I needed it so bad. I haven't seen any people except my son this 2-week session, and I am feeling I need to see people, which is weird for me. Really, it is. And to not be in the house. I'm just cabin fever. It is so real. Tomorrow I go in for session number 7. I'm over halfway. I'm over halfway. I can do this. I want to do a shout out for a new channel. Cheryl, one half of Stitching with the Sisterlies, has branched out and created her own channel. There is no separation of Colleen and Cheryl. They're still Stitching with the Sisterlies. It's just that Colleen does more of her quilting stuff and everything on the Sisterlies, and Cheryl wanted to go her own way and do more of a homesteading style, encompass everything, cross stitch, quilting, making sourdough starter, showing off her chickens. She might show you an Audrey or two. I think all the Teresas are dead. I'm not sure. Anyway, her new channel is called A Maker's Life. It'll be listed down below. Go check her out. And Neener, Anna, I got to shout her out before you did. Ha! High five! Yeah! There was nobody here to do that with me. Cabin fever. I think I've shared everything. I am going a bit stir crazy here. I have flowers blooming that I didn't know I had. A gladiola showed up in the backyard. When I weeded my pots earlier this year, there was this one stem sticking out of one pot and I left it there. I had no idea what it was. It is this beautiful red gladiola, and I posted a picture of it on Instagram. When they tore out the front of our property and put the new fence in, I had to take out my butterfly bush. Well, one of them had seeded over by the entry arbor, so I have a butterfly bush growing over there and it's starting to bloom. When I was out looking at the lavenders that Mark planted for me the other day, I noticed that right underneath the fence line I have some snapdragons that are bird planted, I guess. They were just a cute little surprise to see. So he's been taking care of my garden for me. He goes out almost every night and waters everything, which is good because it would all be dead if it was left to me because I have no energy. Cabin fever, and I'm kind of over this. Tomorrow's number 7. I will get there. I just have to keep telling myself that I will get there. I'm going to finish stitching my Reaper, my alien baby Reaper. I don't think I'm going to put the words in over here, but I think I want to make a stand-up out of this because so I'm going to go back to filling my alien baby Reaper in. Yeah. To everybody who makes videos, post more for me because I need them. Right now I need them badly. Thank you for coming and visiting me today. Thank you for listening to me tell about my journey through cancer. I know that's not everyone's thing. I know that there are a couple other people right now who have just started their journey with cancer. Yeah. We can get through this. We can get through this. So thank you, and live long and stitch on, my friends, until we meet again. Bye-bye.